Hello students, welcome to lecture number 9. The topic of this lecture is Hermitian operator. In this lecture, before understanding the definition of Hermitian operator, first we'll understand the meaning of complex conjugate, then the meaning of Hermitian adjoint or Hermitian conjugate, and we'll see some properties of Hermitian conjugate. Then we'll understand the definition of Hermitian operator, and then we'll see whether some operators are Hermitian or not. Then we'll study few theorems or properties of a Hermitian operator. So in the beginning, let us understand what do we mean by complex conjugate. This complex conjugate is for complex numbers. So suppose if I have a complex number a plus ib, then the complex conjugate of this, which is written as a star mark, is equal to a minus ib. So how do we find the complex conjugate? So we find the complex conjugate by changing the sign of the imaginary part. If I take a simple example 2i, then the complex conjugate of 2i is minus 2i. So we have changed the imaginary part sign. So if I just have a real number 5, then its complex conjugate will be not minus 5. It's wrong. It will be 5 because there is no need to change the sign because there is no imaginary part. So to find complex conjugate, we need to change the sign of the imaginary part. If there is no imaginary part at all, then we keep it as it is. So this is in case of complex numbers. But when we go for the operators, then what do we do to find the complex conjugate? And we have seen in the lecture on operators that an operator is denoted by a square matrix. Every operator is denoted by a square matrix. So let us say that we have an operator A, and let us find its conjugate, complex conjugate. Then we write it A star. So for example, let me, in parallel with these notations, let me give an example. Suppose if we have an operator which is given by 1 0 I 0. So let me write the complex conjugate of this. So complex conjugate means changing the sign of the imaginary part. So here I am having imaginary part here. So I will keep all other things as it is and change the sign of the imaginary part. So this is how we find the complex conjugate. But there is a difference. There is a difference between the complex numbers and operators. In complex numbers, we do only one operation, that is complex conjugate, changing the sign of the imaginary part. But in case of operators, we have to do two operations. The first one is complex conjugate and the second one is transpose. So whatever we get here, we take transpose of that. So whatever we get here, so that will be A star and again transpose of that one. So let us do it here. So first we have done the complex conjugate. Now let us take transpose of this one. So what we get? So 1 minus I 0 0. So after doing two operations for this matrix or for this operator, we obtain this. So what are those operations? First one is finding the conjugate, complex conjugate. The second operation is transpose. So finding the complex conjugate, first operation, and then finding the transpose. So each and every time it's very difficult to write these two operations. So that's why this is condensed to a single notation called a dagger. So this notation is called as dagger. So a dagger, this dagger indicates that two operations are to be done, that is complex conjugate and transpose. So what we have seen is, if we have an operator A and if you do two operations A star and transpose, then that is also written as A dagger. So an operator A, from that we obtain A dagger, and this A dagger is called as Hermitian adjoint. Or it is also called as Hermitian conjugate. Hermitian conjugate. So what do you mean by Hermitian conjugate of an operator? Hermitian adjoint or Hermitian conjugate of an operator is again an operator which is obtained by doing two operations. One is the complex conjugate and another one is the transpose. So let me take one more example. This one I have done. So let me take one more example. Let me take this matrix. 1 I minus I 0. So first what we do? We take the complex conjugate. So after taking the complex conjugate, it becomes 1 minus I 0. So what I have done? I have changed the sign of the imaginary part. Here also sign of the imaginary part. Now one more operation, that is the transpose. So when I do the transpose, so I get 1 minus I. The first row is converted to first column, and here the first column is converted to first row. So I 0. So this is an operator, and after doing two operations, whatever we get, so that is called as Hermitian adjoint or Hermitian conjugate. So we have understood two things here. One is complex conjugate, which is only in case of complex numbers, and in case of operators we have to do two operations. After doing two operations, whatever we get, so that is called as Hermitian adjoint or Hermitian conjugate. So after studying these two basic definitions, now we will see some properties related to Hermitian adjoint or Hermitian conjugate. After studying the basic definitions of complex conjugate and the Hermitian adjoint or Hermitian conjugate of an operator, let us see few properties of Hermitian adjoint. Properties of Hermitian adjoint. The first property is, if we have a dagger and again a dagger, so again we get back the same operator. And if we have a scalar a, then an operator a and a dagger, then this dagger operates on a, and as it is a scalar, so there will be no meaning of taking transpose of the scalar quantity. Then it will be a conjugate, a star, then a dagger. Suppose if we have 4 or more operators which are added and dagger of that is taken, so a plus b plus c plus d dagger is equal to a dagger plus b dagger plus c dagger plus d dagger. And when we come to product of operators, suppose we have a b c d dagger, so here we have to be careful. So this gives us d dagger, c dagger, b dagger and a dagger. Here the same order is followed in case of the addition, but when you come for the multiplication, the order is reversed. The next property is, if we take dagger on a cat, that cat is converted to a bra vector. Similarly, if you take a dagger on a bra, so that bra vector will be converted to a ket vector. So these are very simple properties of a Hermitian adjoint. So far what we have seen is, so here we have seen the main thing is what do we mean by Hermitian adjoint or Hermitian conjugate. Okay, so after understanding this, I feel now the understanding of definition of Hermitian operator is very simple. So we have seen here that if you take an operator A, some operator which is in the matrix form, and if you do two operations, complex conjugate and transpose, so we get some other operator or some other matrix, then this matrix is called as Hermitian adjoint. So if it happens that after doing these operations, these two operations, that is taking complex conjugate and transpose, whatever the operator we get is same as the operator with which we started, then that operator is called as Hermitian operator. So in this example, so we started with 1 0 I 0, we did these two operations and we got this one 1 minus I 0 0. So if we compare this and this, so what we understand that these two are not the same. So that's why, so this is not a Hermitian operator. But look at this example. So we started with 1 I minus I 0. We took the complex conjugate, we took the transpose, then whatever we got after these two operations is the same matrix, this. So this matrix and this matrix are same. So this matrix is the Hermitian matrix, whereas this matrix is not a Hermitian matrix because whatever the Hermitian adjoint we got is not same as this matrix. But in this case it's a Hermitian matrix because whatever the Hermitian adjoint we got is similar to the matrix which we consider. So what do we understand? That operator A is said to be Hermitian operator if its Hermitian adjoint and that operator are same. So this is the definition of a Hermitian operator. So the Hermitian operator is an operator A is said to be Hermitian if it is equal to its adjoint, that is A dagger, its adjoint A dagger, that is A is equal to A dagger. So this is the definition of a Hermitian operator. So there is one more definition of Hermitian operator. So that definition is integration of over all range A psi 1 star psi 2 dx is equal to integration of psi 1 star A psi 2. So here we can see the operator A is associating with the psi 1 here and it is also associating with the psi 2. So if we find this integral and that is this integral in which A is associated with psi 1 and this integral in which A is associated with psi 2. If these two integrals come out to be same, then that operator is said to be Hermitian operator. Or in terms of scalar product, we can write A psi 1 comma psi 2 is equal to psi 1 comma A psi 2. You can see here this operator A is now associated with the psi 1 and here the A is associated with the psi 2. So this is also one more definition of Hermitian operator. So this is also one more definition of Hermitian operator. This is also one more definition of Hermitian operator. Now, and example we have seen just now. So the example of Hermitian matrix or Hermitian operator is the matrix which we have seen here. Okay, in this matrix we have seen. So here this is our A and this is our Hermitian adjoint, and what we find, both are same. So that's why A is called as Hermitian matrix or Hermitian operator. So the examples for Hermitian operators are all the operators which we consider in quantum mechanics are all Hermitian. For example, if you take the position operator, momentum operator, the Hamiltonian operator, energy operator, all the operators whatever we consider in quantum mechanics, all of them are Hermitian operators. One more definition, an operator A is said to be skew Hermitian if A is equal to negative A dagger. So if A is equal to A dagger, it's a Hermitian operator. If A is equal to negative A dagger, then it's a skew Hermitian. And similarly, we have these properties also. So this is the definition of an Hermitian operator. Now let us solve some problems. Let us take some operators and check whether they are Hermitian or not. Very simple. So d dx. So to check whether this is Hermitian or not, so the condition is, so A, if you take the dagger, A dagger, then again it should be A. So if this condition is satisfied, then that matrix, that operator is Hermitian operator. D by dx. So let us check whether this is Hermitian or not. So consider d dx, take dagger of that one, and remember dagger of d dx is negative d dx. Okay, just remember this. So what do we find? So A dagger is equal to minus A. That means it is a skew Hermitian. Skew Hermitian. Now let us consider I d dx. So again what we do? I d dx we take dagger of that one, and at the end, after doing this dagger operation, again if we get back I d dx, then it will be a Hermitian, and if you don't get, it will be not a Hermitian. So now let us do this one, I d dx. So this is of the form, this can be written as, so this can be written as I dagger d dx dagger. Right? The dagger is applied to both. So I dagger is nothing but minus I, and d dx dagger is nothing but minus d dx. So minus into minus will be plus. So what we get? I d dx. So see here. So I d dx dagger is equal to I d dx. It's like A dagger is equal to A. So that's why this is a Hermitian. It's a Hermitian. Now let us see whether the x component of momentum px is Hermitian or not. So what we do is we take the operator of px, so that is minus IH cross d dx, and now we take the dagger of this one and we perform this operation, dagger operation, and if at the end again if we get back the same thing, then px will be a Hermitian operator. So let us see that. So here, so this h cross is a constant, so here we have minus I dagger d dx dagger. So this will be h cross. So minus I dagger is I. Change the sign of the imaginary part. So it will be I, and d by dx dagger we have seen it is minus d dx. So if we write it properly, then it will be minus I h cross d dx. So see, we got this same thing. So this whole dagger is equal to the same thing we got, that is a dagger is equal to a. So therefore px is Hermitian. So it's a Hermitian operator. And remember that we have been checking whether the given operators are Hermitian or not by using this condition. And we have one more condition also. We have this condition. So a given operator is Hermitian or not can also be checked by using this condition. Either it can be checked by using this condition or it can be checked by using this condition. But the simpler one is this, using this condition. But if the question is for 2 marks, then we can use this condition. But if the question is for 5 marks, so we have to use this condition and check whether the given operator is Hermitian or not. So we have seen simple examples how to check whether the given operators are Hermitian or not. Next, let us study few theorems or properties of Hermitian operators. These two theorems are very important. So the first theorem is the eigenvalues of Hermitian operators are real. The eigenvalues of Hermitian operators are real. So let us prove this one. Consider a Hermitian operator A. If it is a Hermitian operator means A will be equal to a dagger. Let ket psi be a state vector, and therefore the eigenvalue equation will be a psi, operator A operating on psi will give us a eigenvalue, say lambda, then the same state vector psi. So this is the eigenvalue equation, and where lambda is a scalar and it is eigenvalue. So let us take this inner product. Let us take this inner product. So psi, bra psi, operator A and ket psi. So let us take this inner product. If you take the inner product, so this will become, first let us say that the operator A is operating on this psi. So if this operator A is operating on psi, what we get is bra psi as it is. So A psi, so A psi is nothing but lambda psi. So we get lambda psi. And this lambda is in the ket. So already we have seen that if the lambda or the scalar is with the ket, so it can be easily taken out of the inner product. So we can write lambda psi psi, and this psi and psi is the norm, so that will be equal to 1. So that then we get psi. Let us say this as equation number 2. Let this be equation number 1. Now A is Hermitian. So how do we know that it is Hermitian? Because it is given. The eigenvalues of Hermitian operators are real. So it is given that it is already a Hermitian. So A is equal to a dagger. So since A is Hermitian, so in this psi, bra psi, and let us say that A is associated with the ket here. And in the definition we have seen, in the definition of Hermitian operator, that if A is Hermitian, then it can associate with the bra here or it can associate with the ket. So here it is associating itself with the ket here. It can also associate itself with the bra, then there will be no change. Now this one, if you look here, so this is also an eigenvalue equation. This is also an eigenvalue equation. Here A was operating on a ket to give lambda and the same ket. Here A is operating on psi. So what we get, this A can also be written this side. It's not like we should write it here. A has to be written here. So A is operating on this one. Then what we get is, we don't get lambda psi. Instead, we get bra psi, then lambda, then this psi as it is. Okay. So this one we get like this. Now the scalar is in the bra. This scalar is associated with the bra, and it's not easy to take it out. It can be taken out, not directly like what we have taken out like this here. So to take it out, so we have to write it conjugate of that scalar and this as it is, and again this will be equal to 1. So here we get psi star 3. So let us look at equation number 2 and 3. So let us look at equation number 2 and 3. So this both are same, is equal to lambda here, and here it is equal to lambda dash. So from 2 and 3, lambda is equal to lambda star. So this is possible. This is possible only when this is possible only when lambda is a real number. So we have seen, suppose if we have 2i, this will be equal to minus 2i. So if we take a real number 5, so if take a conjugate of that, again it will be 5. So this lambda star is equal to lambda will be possible only when lambda is a real number. So what is lambda? Lambda is nothing but the eigenvalue. So what we have proved, the eigenvalues of Hermitian operators are real. The eigenvalues of Hermitian operators are real. So this is one property. So this is the reason that whatever the operators we use in quantum mechanics are all Hermitian. The reason is because the Hermitian operators have real eigenvalues. Let us see one more property or one more theorem of Hermitian operators. The theorem is, any two eigenfunctions belonging to distinct eigenvalues are orthogonal. So any two eigenfunctions belonging to distinct or different, sometimes it is also called different. So we have two different eigenvalues and two different states, and an operator is operating on those states. So let us see this. Let us prove this one. Again, consider two eigenvalues, or consider two eigenstates psi 1 and psi 2. So eigenvalue equations will be operator A operating on psi 1, and that gives us psi 1 ket psi 1. Then operator A operating on ket psi 2, that gives us lambda 2 ket psi 2, where lambda 1 and lambda 2 are eigenvalues of the eigenstates psi 1 and psi 2 respectively, corresponding to the operator A. And lambda 1 is not equal to lambda 2 because we are talking about distinct eigenvalues, different eigenvalues. So lambda 1 is not equal to lambda 2. So again, let us do the same thing. Let us take the inner product, this inner product. So here A psi 2 is nothing but this eigenvalue equation. So what we get psi 1 lambda psi 2. So again, this is lambda 2. This lambda 2 is associated with the ket, so it can be easily taken out. So lambda 2, so we have psi 1 psi 2. Let us call it as equation number 4. Now since A is Hermitian, so we have again seen the definition of the Hermitian, that the operator A, if it is Hermitian, it can associate itself with the ket, or it can associate itself with the bra. So this will be, so when we do this one, so what we get is, this will be psi 1 lambda 1 psi 2, similar what we have done in the previous. So this one, now the scalar is associated with the bra, so that's why, so it can be taken out. So to take it out, what we have to do, we have to write a complex conjugate. Taking out from ket, directly we write psi 2, but when we are taking out from a bra, we write star. So what remains here is psi 1 psi 2. Let us call one more thing is, so lambda 1 star can also be written as lambda 1 psi 1 psi 2, because lambda 1 is eigenvalue of a Hermitian operator A. So in the previous theorem we have seen that the eigenvalues of a Hermitian operator are real. That means, so lambda 1 is equal to lambda 1 star. So this is from the previous theorem. So I can write it like this, and let us call this as equation number 5. Now let us compare equation number 4 and 5. So whatever we got from 4 and 5, let us compare this one. So what we get is, so here the LHS are the same, then the RHS have to be same. So when we compare this, so what we get is lambda 1 psi 1 psi 2 is equal to lambda 2 psi 1 psi 2. So let me bring it this side. So let me bring it this side. So if I bring it on the same side, I get lambda 1 inner product minus lambda 2 and the inner product is equal to 0. So this inner product can be taken common. So lambda 1 minus lambda 2 into the inner product is equal to 0. This is of the form AB is equal to 0. If AB is equal to 0, either A has to be equal to 0 or B has to be equal to 0. So case 1 is lambda minus lambda 2 is equal to 0. That means lambda 1 is equal to lambda 2. Is this possible, lambda 1 is equal to lambda 2? This is not possible. This is not possible. The reason is, we have considered here, if you see here, we have considered that lambda 1 is not equal to lambda 2, but here we are getting lambda 1 is equal to lambda 2. So that therefore this case is not possible. The second case is that this one is equal to 0, that is this inner product is equal to 0. When this is not possible, then this has to be true. This is possible. If inner product of these two is 0, what it means? It means therefore inner product is 0. So if inner product of two states is 0, that means both the states are orthogonal to each other. So this is the basic property of inner product. So therefore psi 1 and psi 2 are orthogonal. So this is what we have proved. So the theorem is that any two eigenfunctions belonging to different or distinct eigenvalues are orthogonal. So this is what we have proved in the end, that psi 1 and psi 2 are orthogonal to each other. So let us move on to the third property. Two theorems we have seen, very important theorems. The first theorem was eigenvalue of Hermitian operators are real, and the second very important theorem related to Hermitian operators is any two eigenfunctions belonging to distinct eigenvalues are orthogonal. So now let us see the third property, third theorem. The third theorem is operators having common set of eigenfunctions commute. So if we have two operators, Hermitian operators, then if they have common set of eigenfunctions, then both the operators commute. So let A and B have same eigenfunctions psi but different eigenvalues lambda 1 and lambda 2 respectively. Therefore the eigenvalue equation will be operator A operating on psi will give us eigenvalue lambda 1 psi, and operator B, so this is operator B operating on the same eigenfunction psi. So the eigenfunction is same but the operators are different and the eigenvalues are different. Now what we have to show, that these two operators which are having the same eigenfunctions commute with each other. So we have to show that A and B commute with each other. So this is the second eigenvalue equation. So now consider this product operator A into B operating on the eigenfunction psi. So now let us say that B is operating on psi. So if B is operating on psi, then we get lambda 2 psi. So A as it is, then we get lambda 2 psi. And again this lambda 2 is associated with ket, so it can be easily taken out, or here it's not inner product, so it can be easily written outside. So this will become lambda 2 A psi. Now look here, this is A psi. A psi means this eigenvalue equation. So this will give us lambda 2 as it is. A psi will give us lambda 1 ket psi. So let us call this as equation number 3. Now let us consider this operation, operator BA operating on psi. Now again the same thing. So let us consider that first A operates on psi, then B remains as it is. If A is operating on psi means we get lambda 1 ket psi. So this can be written as lambda 1 operator B ket psi. Now in this B is operating on psi. So B is operating on psi. So we get lambda 2 psi. So that will be lambda 1 as it is. So we get lambda 2 psi. So let us call this as equation number 4. So from 3 and 4 what we find is these are all scalars, so we can change the order. So this can also be written as lambda 2 lambda 1 psi. So let us call this as equation number 4. So if you take this equation, this expression, and this, what we see, that the RHS are same. If the RHS are same, then LHS should also be same. So therefore from 3 and 4 AB ket psi is equal to BA ket psi. So if I remove this psi, then what we get? This implies AB is equal to BA. So this implies again AB minus BA is equal to 0. AB minus BA is equal to 0 means this is nothing but the commutation relation AB minus BA, that is AB is equal to 0. If AB is equal to 0, what it means? It means A and B commute with each other. A and B commute with each other. So this is the proof of this property. Let us see one more simple property of Hermitian operator. If A and B are Hermitian, then product of two Hermitian operator is also Hermitian if they commute with each other. So suppose we have A and B are Hermitian, that means A dagger will be equal to A and B dagger will be equal to B. So what we have to prove? That AB, the product AB is also Hermitian. So let us take the product AB. So this will be Hermitian. So if I take the dagger of AB and do the operation, and if at the end if I get AB, so therefore AB dagger will be equal to AB. That means AB, the operator AB will be Hermitian. So what is this AB? Product of A and B. So this one, by using the property of adjoint, this can be written as B dagger A dagger. And see here, B dagger is nothing but B because B is Hermitian, and A dagger is nothing but A because A is Hermitian. So what we get is AB dagger is equal to BA, and this will be equal to AB if, see here, BA will be equal to AB if commutator AB is equal to 0. That is AB minus BA is equal to 0. That is AB is equal to BA. So therefore BA will be equal to AB if AB is equal to 0. So BA will be equal to AB if AB is equal to 0. That is A and B commute with each other. So what we got? If AB commute with each other, then BA will be equal to AB. So we started with AB dagger, then we ended up with AB. So this is the property of a Hermitian operator. So hence this property is proved. Again, few more simple. If A and B are Hermitian, then let us check whether A plus B is Hermitian or not. So for that, what we do? We take A plus B and we take dagger of that one. So that will be equal to A dagger plus B dagger. So A dagger will be equal to A and B dagger will be equal to B, because A and B are Hermitian. It is given. So that's why A plus B dagger is equal to A plus B. That means this is Hermitian. A plus B is Hermitian. So let us do the same with this one. So let us take A minus B dagger. So this will be equal to A dagger minus B dagger. So that will be equal to A minus B. So we started with A minus B dagger. We got A minus B. So therefore this is also Hermitian. So let us do this one. A plus IB. So this is A dagger plus IB dagger. So this will be A, because A is a Hermitian, so A dagger will be equal to A. This will be I dagger is minus I, and this is B dagger, so that will be B. So A plus IB is equal to A minus IB. So that means, is it skew Hermitian? Can we say that it's skew Hermitian? So to get skew Hermitian, we should get A plus IB dagger is equal to minus A minus IB, but we did not get this one, so we can't write this as skew Hermitian. We just say that this is not Hermitian. So similarly, this is is equal to A dagger minus IB dagger. So that will be A dagger minus, so this will be minus minus plus, so that gives us B dagger, so that will be A plus IB. So this is also not Hermitian. So this we have seen the Hermitian operators, the various Hermitian operator properties. So we have seen the properties of Hermitian operator. So in this lecture we have covered the Hermitian operator. So first we saw the complex conjugate, then Hermitian adjoint or Hermitian conjugate, few properties of Hermitian conjugate. Then we saw the definition of Hermitian operator. Then we solved basic operators, checked whether those are Hermitian or not. Then we saw some theorems or properties of Hermitian or not. So we end this lecture here. So let us discuss a few questions related to this lecture. So very simple, define Hermitian operator. This is straightforward. So these are the questions. So these are all straightforward, whichever we have discussed. Okay, there is nothing more to discuss these questions because all these questions are straightforward questions. So we end this lecture. In the next lecture, that is lecture number 10, we'll study two more operators, the unitary operator and the projection operator.